Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our latest C3G video. My name is Heiko Voigt from Harborlight Software Development in Halifax. Colin?
Colin Breckles with Castlebreck. Gordon?
Gordon Hegfield with HCL. Graham?
And Graham Akers from Britech Systems in Vancouver. Today we are getting an update on the latest release of the AppDevPack. This is version 1.0.7 that's just come out. So we're in December 2020. And Gordon, I'm going to hand it back to you to take it away and show us what we're going to get to play with.
Okay. All right. Let me find the screen share here. Okay. So today we're going to look at what's new in AppDevPack 1.0.7. There's really just a couple of things new. And there's really just two new functions, create and delete database for our Node and Java APIs. So with this, you can now use either the Node or Node.Js or the Java APIs to create databases and delete databases. So I'm going to take you through a sample in a minute, an actual example, working example. But for now, I just want to go over the sort of the top level things that are common to both APIs. So right now, the way we have this working is, you can create a database. It's got to be relative to the server data directory. We don't want you creating databases all over the place. So you can specify the path, you can specify the title, and you can also provide a template name. And if you don't specify a template, you get a default ACL, which is specified here. What we did is we looked at what the Nodes client does. So default no access, server is manager access, and then local domain servers gets manager, and other domain servers gets no access. A couple other things that are extra here are that the application functional ID must be in the create databases and templates list in the server document if you use that field. I'll show you that in a minute. And the other thing is you do have to enable this in the AppDevConfig database. So same thing goes for delete database. You give it the path to delete. Once again, same security requirements. Application functional ID has to be in the server doc if you're using it, and of course you have to have that checkbox in the AppDevConfig database checked. So what I thought I'd do is take us through a little sample code that demonstrates a few things about the API, and also demonstrates some different programming techniques that you may not have seen from our simple examples that you see in the documentation. So what I'm going to do here is, it's kind of a contrived example, but I thought what I would do is take use the discussion template, and I decided, well, I want to see what happens if I create 10 databases at once, and give this thing a little bit of an exercise. And so what I wanted to do was compare and contrast doing this in parallel versus serial, just to see if what the performance difference might be. And the parallel code looks like this, where first of all, you set up all the config stuff independently, the certificates and that kind of thing, and which, if you've used this at all, you know what that is. And obviously you get the server object here. And then what I do here is a little different. You might have seen in some of the example code that exists in our documentation, which is create database as an async function. And an async function in Node.js actually returns a promise. So, commonly you see code that just does a wait on functions like that. But what you can do in this, like in this case, I said, well, I'm going to create 10 databases. So in this case, what I do is I I put this in a loop, and instead of awaiting, I call create database 10 times with 10 different database names, and I get an array of the promises back, and then you can use this function called promise.all, and you can wait for all the databases that get created. And so if you're doing thread-based programming, I guess this is sort of like a join, right? You come down, you do a bunch of things, and you wait for those background things to get done. And then what I do here is the same thing with, first of all, use database. So before you can write something to a database, you have to call use database on the server to get back a database object. So I use the same pattern here where I create an array of promises and call use database function 10 times for on those databases. And then I do the same thing with the promise all, wait for the databases to come back to me. That's usually pretty quickly. And then I come down here and I create a document, set of documents, and I do the same thing with putting a welcome message in, and then I just print a little report here. So when I run this, I actually have it in the debugger, but I'm going to run it like this. Let's see what happens. So I got back 10 databases, and it was like a little over, almost 7 seconds. Actually, I've done better for some reason at different times, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the screen share or something's taken up time. I don't know. So let's go see if that actually worked. So we should see now, yes, there's my test databases. And there's a discussion template. And you can see my welcome message. And well, there's a welcome to test database 3. So that's great, it worked. Now the delete, I did the same thing with the delete. So I come in here and just basically delete 10 databases, get 10 promises. And this is pretty fast here. This is wicked fast. Oops, something went wrong there. Interesting. Databases used by you or another user. Well, I forgot to close that. So give me 1 second. Hope that works. Probably did. So now I was just going to, as a comparison, I was going to look at the serial code. This is what you would probably do if you were looking at our sample code and just taking the samples as is you'd go into a loop and you do each one of these operations one after the other and wait for each one to finish, right? So create the database and you wait and say use the database, get the database object back, and then create the document. And the time difference is pretty significant. So if I do, let's hope this works today. And we wait. The first time I ran this, I thought something was wrong because it was taking so long.
But that's the reason also for all the bulk operations that we have in the API as well, right? So you do as much as you can in parallel to speed up proceeding, right? Right. So here you can see this took 26 seconds to do essentially the same thing, but just organizing the code differently. So I guess the thing to take away from this is you should look at your code and see where you can take advantage of things like this to increase parallelism, because what you're basically doing is leveraging the multi-threading capability on the back end of the Proton server. You're essentially allowing it to pipeline all these operations much quicker. So that's just a little demonstration of the create and delete database
functions. The other thing I should have done before I started, which was to show you the prerequisites, which are to get these functions to work, you need to come in here and where is that? Oh, administrative operations right here. So you need to check this box, allow administrative operations. And when you see this little refresh arrow, that means that the server needs to restart. So when you click that, you have to restart the Proton server, but this database will actually restart it for you if you click that. So that's pretty handy. And the other thing, excuse me, is over here on your server document, on the security tab, under server access, who can create database and templates. So if I didn't have this populated, I wouldn't have to worry about it. But since I do, I had to put this is the name of my test user in this field here. So those are the two prerequisites that you got to do before you try to use these functions. Otherwise, they'll fail on you. So that's pretty much it for my demo. Any questions?
Awesome.
No, very, very clear. Very well done.
Absolutely fantastic. Maybe one thing that I would like to add for those of us in the Nodes and Domino area that are already playing with the quad or the monthly builds of Domino 12. So the AppDevPack, as since version 1.0.7, also contains the builds for version 12. So you can use the AppDevPack with these rolling beta drops that are coming out of HCL for the next release of Domino as well.
And going back to what you had said at the beginning, Gordon, about setting up the server access and the config.js and all of the various odd settings in order to make the AppDevPack work. For people who haven't maybe come across that just yet, if you follow our course that we've published to go through all of those steps and how to set everything up and make it work properly. So there's a free course that is available through another one of our videos that you can find online. That'll give you all the details on how to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, then I think we'll keep it short and sweet and say thank you very much. So Colin, over to you.
Yeah, you guys know what to do. Same request as always. Get us some love from the algorithm by clicking like. Click the bell notification for notifications when our new videos come out. And happy holidays, friends.
Thanks for joining.
Bye now.